Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
Hold on to your seats, because what you're about to hear is wild. Imagine a mayor so caught up in scandals that she's allegedly bribing federal agents. That's right, Tiffany Henyard, the super mayor of Dolton, Illinois, is accused of crossing the line, bribing the very people investigating her shady financial dealings. From luxury lifestyles funded by taxpayers to possible attacks on her critics, this story is spiraling out of control fast. But with the FBI closing in, the real question is, how much longer can she hold on before her empire crumbles? Buckle up, this drama is just heating up. Welcome to the channel, where the truth is messier than the headlines. Today's scandal might just leave you speechless. Imagine a mayor so bold, she's allegedly bribing the feds while under investigation herself. Yeah, it's that wild. We're diving deep into Tiffany Henyard's spiral of corruption, luxury, and a web of lies that's left an entire town reeling. So hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you won't want to miss the twists, turns, and jaw-dropping details in this ongoing saga. Buckle up, it's about to get even crazier. Tiffany Henyard's early political career had all the makings of an inspirational tale. Born and raised in Dolton, she was a hometown hero, someone who knew the struggles of the community firsthand. She grew up in a working-class family, always seen as someone who wanted to give back to the people. Her initial campaign in 2021 was all about rebuilding the community, restoring public trust in government, and creating opportunities for everyone in Dolton. She often talked about her vision for safer streets, better schools, and economic opportunities for all. Her charismatic speeches, combined with a genuine connection to the community, won over voters. She made history as the first Black woman elected as mayor of Dolton, and her supporters celebrated her as a symbol of change. Her win felt like a win for the entire town. She seemed like the person who could finally take on the systemic issues that plagued the area, from high crime rates to underfunded schools. Tiffany Henyard was seen as someone who understood their struggles and would work to fix them. But as the months passed, cracks began to form in her carefully crafted image. As Tiffany Henyard settled into her role as mayor, her public persona remained polished. But behind the scenes, people began noticing changes. Henyard started appearing in public wearing designer clothes and driving luxury cars. While her position certainly came with a respectable salary, it wasn't nearly enough to explain her sudden wealth. Then came the vacations. Henyard was spotted in high-end resorts, from the beaches of the Caribbean to shopping in the boutiques of Paris. Soon after, she was seen with expensive jewelry, new designer bags, and living a life that seemed far removed from the modest lifestyle she once had. At first, her supporters brushed it off. After all, she was the mayor. Some believed she had simply invested her earnings wisely, or that maybe she came from more money than people realized. But for those working within Dolton's government, it was clear that something wasn't adding up. Questions started circulating. How could the mayor afford these luxuries, especially when Dolton was struggling financially? Dolton, Illinois, is not a wealthy town. In fact, for years, it has faced significant economic challenges. The town's public schools were in desperate need of funding. Public services were stretched thin, and infrastructure was crumbling. And yet, under Henyard's leadership, things seemed to be getting worse. Public funds, which were supposed to go toward community improvement projects, were mysteriously drying up. Street repairs were left unfinished, and schools continued to operate underfunded. People began to notice that while the mayor was living in luxury, the town seemed to be in worse shape than before. It didn't take long before these observations turned into outright suspicion. Several town officials voiced concerns about the mismanagement of funds. Whispers turned into murmurs, and murmurs eventually became loud accusations. Something was very wrong, and it was only a matter of time before someone decided to look deeper into Henyard's financial dealings. The tipping point came in early 2023, when the FBI launched a quiet but thorough investigation into Tiffany Henyard's finances. The investigation was triggered by anonymous tips suggesting that Henyard was misusing public funds and accepting bribes. The FBI's Financial Crimes Unit started digging into her spending habits and began tracing the flow of money from the town's budget. What they found was alarming. Henyard was funneling public money into her personal accounts and using it to fund her lavish lifestyle. But the investigation didn't stop there. The FBI also discovered a network of shady deals between Henyard and local businesses. She had allegedly been accepting bribes from construction contractors, business owners, and developers in exchange for favorable treatment and city contracts. The more they dug, the worse it got. Henyard was steering lucrative government contracts to her allies and pocketing kickbacks in return. These contracts were often overpriced, underdelivered, or outright scams. For example, one deal involved a massive infrastructure project that never broke ground, despite millions of dollars being allocated to it. And guess where the money ended up? Henyard's pocket. If the embezzlement and contract fraud weren't bad enough, Henyard made a move so bold, it shocked even the FBI. In mid-2023, while under investigation, she allegedly attempted to bribe federal officials. Henyard reportedly met with individuals she believed could influence the investigation, offering them substantial sums of money in exchange for delaying or halting the probe into her activities. The FBI, of course, had the meeting recorded. Imagine the arrogance to bribe federal agents while already being investigated for corruption. These tapes, which are now key evidence in the case, show Henyard openly discussing payments in return for stopping the investigation. This wasn't just reckless, it was desperate. Henyard knew the walls were closing in, and she was grasping at straws to protect her crumbling empire. While Henyard's attempts to bribe officials were shocking, her personal spending habits only added fuel to the fire. Court documents reveal a staggering amount of taxpayer money funneled into her personal accounts, funding everything from high-end fashion to private jets. Henyard reportedly spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on designer clothes, lavish vacations, and even custom-made jewelry. She frequented exclusive boutiques in New York, Paris, and Milan, making purchases that would make any celebrity blush. For a town like Dolton, where many residents live paycheck to paycheck, this was nothing short of a betrayal. Some of her most extravagant purchases included luxury cars, multiple cars, in fact worth tens of thousands of dollars each. Henyard had not one but two penthouses, both in prime real estate locations, where she hosted elaborate parties for the elite, all while Dolton's residents struggled to pay their bills. Once the details of Henyard's corruption hit the news, the public backlash was swift. Residents of Dolton were furious. How could the woman they trusted to lead their community have betrayed them in such a devastating way? Protesters gathered outside City Hall, calling for her immediate resignation. Signs reading, "Henyard must go," and "Justice for Dolton" lined the streets. Town meetings turned into heated confrontations, with local officials demanding transparency and justice. Many of Henyard's political allies quickly distanced themselves from her, as it became clear that her actions could no longer be defended. The Illinois state legislature even launched its own investigation, putting additional pressure on Henyard. In response, Henyard held a press conference where she denied all allegations, calling them politically motivated lies. She insisted she was the victim of a smear campaign orchestrated by her enemies. However, her denials did little to calm the storm. By then, the evidence against her was overwhelming. With the evidence mounting, Henyard was formally charged with fraud, bribery, and embezzlement in late 2023. She was placed under house arrest while awaiting trial, and the legal proceedings became a media spectacle. Every detail of her scandal was reported, from the luxury goods she bought to the tapes of her bribing officials. The legal battle that followed was intense. Henyard's defense team tried to paint her as a misunderstood figure, a victim of circumstance rather than a villain. But the FBI had a mountain of evidence, and those bribery tapes were practically a smoking gun. As of 2024, Henyard's trial is set to begin soon. If convicted, she could face decades in federal prison. The town of Dolton, meanwhile, is trying to pick up the pieces and move forward, but Henyard's betrayal has left deep wounds. Dolton is now in damage control mode. The town is working hard to rebuild its reputation and recover the funds stolen by Henyard. New leadership has been appointed, but it's going to take time to heal the damage done. Trust in local government has been shattered, and many residents feel the town has a long road ahead. For Henyard, her political career is likely over. Even if she somehow avoids prison, the scandal has left her reputation in tatters. What was once a bright political future has been overshadowed by greed and corruption. And that, folks, is the unbelievable story of how Tiffany Henyard went from a beloved mayor to the center of one of the most shocking corruption scandals in recent history. From bribery to embezzlement, her downfall is a powerful reminder of what happens when power and greed collide. Thanks for tuning into the channel. If you want more stories of shocking downfalls and explosive scandals, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's always more drama on the way, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned, because things are about to get even more intense.